Hey guys, this is Two Dudes, One Player. Dane and Val are going to be playing the AFC Championship game. And as always, I am Al. What do you two think going into this game? Who's going to win?
I'm going to go Patriots, even though I'm playing as the Broncos.
Yeah, I gotta go Patriots.
Gotta take a look at the guy who's won in the playoffs. And as we all know, Brady, say what you want about him, say what you want about the receivers he's throwing to, but for some reason, he gets into the playoffs. The guy, he knows what he's doing.
And I mean, also going off that comment, I mean, the Patriots have Belichick. And I think when you look at Peyton Manning, it's just that, like, he's gotten there, he keeps getting to the playoffs, but Tom Brady always beats him there. And it no matter if it's at home or at Gillette, Tom Brady's just a better quarterback, I feel like, in the playoffs.
Now, do you think the winner of the AFC Championship game will end up being the team to win the Super Bowl as well?
That's tough to say. Seahawks and even the 49ers they both are pretty quality in pretty much every aspect of the game, though I think the Seahawks definitely present the bigger challenge.
Yeah, I think both teams are solid. I mean, and don't be too hard on the 49ers. You know, they have been there before. They have experience. And I think with whichever team on both sides, the NFC and the AFC coming out of the conference championships it's gonna be a great Super Bowl either way.
Now, are you looking forward to the commercials during the Super Bowl? That's one of the things that I've always loved along with the game.
Okay, me personally, I'm not really looking forward to the commercials all that much, just because the past few years commercials haven't been all that great to me. With the exception of the Doritos commercials, I think those are great.
Well, aren't those all fan-made too?
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
You know, when I look at the Super Bowl, I honestly take a look at who's performing at halftime, commercials, but really the game.
Right. Now, what do you think, though, since you mentioned halftime, of this year's halftime performer?
Who is it?
It's Bruno Mars, right?
Featuring the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
That I'm excited for. That's definitely more my style of music.
Bruno or the Chili Peppers?
Chili Peppers.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they just have so many great hits. It'll be fun to see them performing at such a big venue.
Mm-hmm. I'm hoping they perform Under the Bridge or Dane, California. Those two
of
are
course.
really, really good songs of theirs.
Oh, definitely.
I'm not a real. I don't know a lot about the Red Hot Chili Peppers, but my girlfriend loves Bruno Mars. I'm sure she's gonna be looking forward to that. Me on the other hand, it's with the exception of the Beyonce halftime show, which was great. Watch the halftime show. So, you know, it's whatever. just so you fans know a little bit of background between me and what's her name? Val, yeah, Val.
Appreciate it on the background.
You know, I have beaten Val. Oh my god. Okay. So I have beaten him. The majority of the time, 99% of the time that we've ever played, I've beaten him. So
And usually it's not close.
it's usually not close at all. No.
Right now,
Like
keep in
this
mind.
kick.
Woo! Keep in mind, the winner of this game will play DirtyMike, who beat me in the AFC Championship game. So whoever wins in real life in the AFC Championship game, one of you two will represent that team in our Super Bowl game.
I think whoever wins this game is going to win it all.
You don't think that DirtyMike has a chance to win the Super Bowl?
Nope,
Well-
not a chance.
I think when you really look at the teams, I think it comes down to exactly what we were saying before. It's either Brady or it's Manning playing against, I believe, the 49ers, if I remember.
Well, he did win in our game, but he will represent whoever wins in real life.
Okay.
All right, that
So
makes more
if the
sense.
Seahawks win, even though I represented the Seahawks, because he won the game, he represents the Seahawks then in the actual Super Bowl game.
Okay, sounds
Okay,
good. Sounds good.
then, you know, it'll be close, it'll be tough, but I'm going to stay confident on the AFC teams.
As a Chargers fan, I do hope the AFC does end up winning the Super Bowl, but I will say I also want the Patriots to win, as I do not want the Broncos
Ooh,
to
Mallet.
win the Super Bowl.
I'd love to see the Patriots win it all, just because I think, especially for a guy like Brady, to go through all he's gone through this season, I think you really have to give him a ton of credit that a lot of people aren't willing to give him.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, it's difficult for a guy who has basically an entire rookie core of receivers, none of his normal tight ends, to really do what he's done this season. And it's been quite impressive.
What do you think about all that, Dane?
I mean, I agree. I think Tom Brady and Belichick both, to do what they've done with this, decimation of injuries, like on the defensive side of the ball and on the offense, it's just amazing. Having a murderer on your team, that's one big thing.
Well, I mean, not
And
is he convicted yet?
Okay, having a alleged murderer on your team.
You don't want to get sued.
But back to the original point, having the injuries and the distractions that they had in the offseason, for this team to go ahead and make it all the way to the AFC Championship game, possibly the Super Bowl, is simply amazing. And I think that's just a testament to the leadership on that team and the experience, really.
When you look at all the great talent that the Broncos have, I think it's hard not to consider them favorites.
Mm-hmm.
But I think what really is going to decide this game is really the leadership and how players like Brady, who've been there before, respond to all the expectation that has been put on their backs.
Also, just like if you look at my last couple of plays with LeGarrette Blount, the dimension that he's added to that Patriots offense over the last 2 games is just like, wow. I mean, because if you think about it, if you give LeGarrette Blount the ball a few times, run it down their throats, and then Tom Brady go right over the top, that's a dimension the Patriots, typically don't have. They're usually a just gun it type of team, and that works for them. But like having a running back like Blount and then having them come out of nowhere kind of too is just a testament to how good they really are. And the talent, how Belichick goes and gets diamonds in the rough, And I think with Tom Brady, like he always plays with a chip on his shoulder, I think he's never gonna forget that low draft pick.
Yeah.
He was, and Peyton Manning was always that guy. He was always a guy expected to come in the NFL, do great things, and he has in the regular season. That's something about Peyton Manning that never sits well with me. He breaks records in the regular season. That's nice. I'm not denying his greatness, but honestly, when it comes down to it, even though he does have 1 Super Bowl ring, it's just really telling because he can never make it out the playoffs. He very rarely makes it out the playoffs. And
Now, to make a slight transition, just recently the rookie awards were announced by the PFWA, I believe.
Changs.
Yeah, PF Chang's released their Rookies of the Year. But what do you think of Eddie Lacy winning the Rookie of the Year award?
I think it's pretty earned. Solid interception right there. Nice tackle by Hollow.
I think Eddie Lacy definitely deserved it. And to talk about the Packers, I definitely think if Aaron Rodgers did not go down in the regular season with that dimension that Eddie Lacy gave him, like Eddie Lacy really gave them a true ground and pound game. And that's something the Packers haven't had in a long time.
And then Keenan Allen won the Offensive Rookie of the Year award over Lacy. Do you think that was deserved by Keenan Allen?
Yeah.
Oh my God, what are you doing? Hit him! Keenan Allen definitely deserved it. I mean, to have Phillip Rivers play the way he played this year definitely helped Keenan Allen get that award. I definitely think Keenan Allen needs to acknowledge Phillip Rivers for that because it definitely helped him out. But I think Keenan Allen did a good job coming into the league, Justin. And I'm kind of leaning a little bit more towards Eddie Lacy, but I agree. Both of them were very deserving of the award, I feel.
Yeah, and I think, to me, I would actually favor Lacy. Just, being a Lions fan that I am, I've seen him twice this season already, and he is one of the most versatile running backs I've seen in the league. He really delivers big hits, to defenders, which is a really good thing for a young running back to be doing.
Right.
Damn it. I just murdered my running back. But, he's really come into the league, and he's made that running back spot his own on a team that isn't necessarily known as a big runner.
Yeah,
right.
And in the black and blue division, he's really made a name for himself, and I think that's huge.
Right, then I believe it was Kiko Alonso from the Buffalo Bills that won the Defensive Rookie of the Year.
Definitely deserved it. Kiko is a beast. I've watched him play a couple times this year, and honestly, I have to say that he's probably one of the premier linebackers in this league right now. I mean, the way he attacks the ball, the kid has hands like glue. He delivers very solid hits. I think he truly deserved it. Yeah, definitely. I wasn't no question. I think Kiko definitely deserved it.
I think Dane said it perfect. He's completely right on that one.
Now, for whichever one of you does have to end up playing Dirty Mike, What will your strategy be going up against him? Now keep in mind, he's not a very defensive-minded player, but he is very aggressive on offense.
I'm just going to play.
Yeah, well, I'm a very strategic player when it comes down to Madden. As you see, I've made some mistakes, but my defensive side of the ball has really kept me in the game right now. But I think with Dirty Mike, him being so offensively aggressive, I think it's actually going to go to my advantage. Seeing, because a lot of times he gets back there and he just goes crazy, And I think, using zone blitzes, kind of mixing it up a little bit, especially on the defensive end. Like, the zone blitzes definitely, I think, it really throw him off his game because he really likes to run that play action, roll-off game. Right. And, I think if I could catch a corner, if I could catch him rolling right into a corner, force a couple of sacks, get him rattled a little bit, I think it slow him down on offense, definitely.
Right. And now, what do you think you're going to do? Because he loves the slant routes with tight ends. How do you think you're going to defensively approach that?
Be prepared for it.
Yeah, and I mean it's kind of hard because you gotta recognize that he is playing with depending on who he's playing with. Like if he's playing with the 49ers, then I'm gonna be having to deal with Vernon Davis. One of us will be having to deal with Vernon Davis.
You mean I'm gonna have to deal with Vernon Davis?
The winner of the game will have to deal with Vernon Davis if the 49ers beat the Seahawks.
And then
You're fucking kidding me.
And then with the Seahawks, they have some good talented tight ends, but I think with the Seahawks you have to more worry about their defense. So, it'd be interesting, depending on who I got to deal with. Who the winner of the game has to deal with.
I appreciate the faith in my game, son.
Who the winner of the game has to deal with. So, yeah, I mean, it'd be interesting, but I'm sure, it'd be a great game whoever he plays.
Right. Now, I do think, though, if the Seahawks win, it'll be to one of your advantages. Because he is offensively minded, with the 49ers having the more aggressive offense, I think that Mike, who doesn't utilize his defense properly, it won't matter that he has a better defense, but he won't have as strong of an offense if the Seahawks win. Would you agree with that statement or no?
To an extent. I really think that, when you have talented players on defense, especially in Madden, it can come to your advantage, but it can also to the other team's advantage if you're not good defensively.
Right.
I mean, especially with the Seahawks defense, especially with Mike Sherman back there.
Richard Sherman.
No, why did I call him Mike? I don't know.
Because you're playing. You might end up playing Dirty Mike.
Yeah. With Sherman back there, man, that secondary is deep. It is deep.
Definitely.
I wish the Lions had a secondary like that, but that's beside the point.
One day.
That's beside the point.
All right, so at the end of the first half, the Patriots are leading the Broncos by a score of 13-7. Now, Dane, with the lead, do you have any strategic change that you want to make, or are you going to keep doing what you've been doing?
No, I'm going to definitely make some strategic changes. Stop throwing interceptions. This is one big thing.
Yeah, I think that one's the only way that I've been able to stay in this game, really.
I made two really bad decisions on offense, making my boy Tom Brady look bad. But other than that,
I'm not making Manning look like he's any good either. So, but I mean, maybe he'll play like this in the actual championship. Maybe this is actually a straight up prediction.
Now, one of the big news stories going into next season is that Manning is going to be deciding whether or not he'll retire based on what he hears from the doctors about his neck. Would you be surprised if Manning's report comes back that he can play and he does? Like, do you think his neck will be in a condition where he's going to decide to retire? Or do you think he'll be all right with what he hears and come back for one last season at quarterback?
I think, if he can play, he's going to play.
Yeah, I think with him, he's a guy who's very driven, just like Brady, and it's going to be something where he's going to decide for himself if he's, all right with his career.
Now, well, I do hope that Manning isn't in a dangerous situation with his neck. I do hope that he either way decides to retire being a Chargers fan. Because
I'm not biased at all.
Looking at what we did to the Chiefs, I know next year, especially when we have Malcolm Floyd and Denario Alexander back, we can destroy the Chiefs. The Raiders are the Raiders. I don't need to say more. So the only threat for the Chargers going into next season is definitely the Broncos if they have Manning.
And yourselves.
And a pick six for the Patriots.
So, wow, that was a great play on fourth down.
Gotta keep it close, man. Gotta keep it close.
One person in the draft, and I'm really curious to see where they will end up going. I don't know if you've heard of him, but Terrence West from Towson from the championship series.
I can honestly say I don't know much about him. Would you like to tell us about him, though?
Well, he ended up getting, in the regular season, 40 rushing touchdowns, and I think he added another 3 or 4 more in the playoffs. He ended up leading Towson to make it to, but not win, the championship game in the FCS. They lost to North Dakota State. But this guy rushed for over 2,000 yards.
I don't think it's comparable.
But it's still a Division I school.
To an extent. You're looking at a massive gap. He's not playing against an Alabama who's going to send a ton of their guys to the pros. They're not playing against, any of these big schools who realistically are going to put out a much higher percentage of professional players. Week in, week out, you got to really look at who's able to do it against, proper competition. Mm-hmm. He might come in and he'll probably surprise a few people. But unfortunately, I think he'll come in and be a role player. And that's not a bad thing.
Right. Because with 2,509 rushing yards, though.
I mean, he'll probably come in and he'll be able to do something. I just don't see him being a guy who you shoot out your entire, the bank for.
Well, just consider, though, didn't Joique Bell go to Wayne State, a D2 school?
I was really just getting ready to say that. That was a great point. Joique Bell is a perfect example of somebody who didn't go to a top school and came to the NFL and did great. But I don't know much about this guy. But I'm not gonna rule out the possibility that he might come into the NFL and play a really solid role and do a really good job for some team. But seeing as I don't know a lot about him, I don't want to make the comment, but I don't also want to take away from the possibility that the kid did have 2,000 rushing yards. And for anybody, I think that's a really great achievement, even if you're not playing top competition. Running backs have short lifespans in the NFL. It's to take on that type of workload. I mean, you have to be a horse, to deal with that. But I just don't see anybody having that type of durability over a long period of time. But like I said, I haven't seen this kid. I don't know much about him, but. I'm just trying to think of it realistically from any type of running back's point of view. And, it depends on, what team uses him, how he comes in, who he impresses. We'll see what he do at the combine. But, I think especially with a kid like that, not going to one of the biggest D1 schools, it's always interesting to see how those players turn out and where they come from. Because like you said, Joique Bell is a great example of that, going to a D2 school like State.
Yeah, it's definitely not that he can't come in and make an impact. But, you really have to look for a guy like him. How many times is he going to be able to get hit by a Von Miller? How many times is he going to get hit by these bigger linebackers who realistically are playing at these bigger schools in the in the pros or even at like smaller schools in the FBS? It's a very, very different game, and until you've seen him do it, it's hard to really commit. You might have got me on this one, but it's hard to really commit to a
player from that level.
And I think he'll get drafted. He'll definitely find his way onto a team, but it's going to be hard for especially being a slower guy. He doesn't have that big play capability in the eyes of a lot of scouts.
Right.
And that's a big deal. That's not something that you're going to want to look at and go, it's not a thing. You have to have that big playability in the pros because everyone in the league, has to be able to make guys miss and really compete on an elite level.
I'm sure we're looking forward to a great set of conference championships.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be, I think, what defines whether the Broncos or the Patriots wins. Who controls the game on the ground.
Yep.
27-14, Patriots over the Broncos. That is Two Dudes, One Player's prediction for this one. And we'll see you for the Super Bowl.
All right, guys, thank you again for watching.
Dane out.